Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
Well, good afternoon to everyone out there, and welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay successfully retired, and at the same time look back into quite a bit of history at the same time. You until the end of the year, aren't going to talk too much about my business. I don't anyway very much, but I just a quick plug and we'll get right on with it. We've got possibly a live blues concert coming after 3:30. And we'll also be talking about, not Elvira, what's her name? Vampira, yeah. So and that'll be before then. But remember, this is where you will find education, okay? You will not find anything that you have to do. You will not find any obligations, or just give me a quick hello right here. Or how about just email me at bestloantoday@gmail.com. bestloantoday@gmail.com. Now, so, I also, as far as the site is concerned, there's a blog there. I added a couple of things onto the blog. One is nostalgia, which we go over here, and one is wisdom, which we go over a little bit too. But what is today? It's National Have a Bagel Day, and I don't have one, so poor me. But, it's best known in New York and Montreal, and this is something I didn't know about Montreal bagels. They bake their bagels in a wood oven instead of boiling them. And Harry Lender, not a lender like me, a bagel maker, was the first to use a commercial bagel machine and pioneered the production of frozen pre-sliced bagels. It's also International Mountain Day. So, remember that... I'm sorry. I failed to show you a couple of great bagel carts. Okay? I think this looks okay on there. I think. If not, if you want to look at the videos I put up, I have the individual pictures there, too. That's an older one. And, of course, I love this picture. But back to the mountains. I was told or read yesterday that mountains represent 30% of the earth, and we all know that water covers 70%. So I think I better check my math, but that doesn't leave much for the rest of us. Mountains are home to 25% of land animals, including Bigfoot. Do you believe, Sean, do you believe in Bigfoot?
Of course.
Okay, there we go. I have a list of some mountain-type movies, but we'll see if we have time. We're going to talk about famous people's birthdays, and we'll start with, we'll get to Vampira soon, so you don't want to miss that. So, Val Guest was born in 1911 and earned his wings in 2005. He was an English film director. Yeah, of course, he did a lot of science fiction and then horror movies, and that's why I love him. But he is responsible for, and wrote some things too, over 45 films to his credit. And as a would-be actor, he made his money in London working as a bookkeeper, which is, I guess, the same as working as a waiter here in California. So he went on to direct 15 of the Hammer horror films after working as a writer for the London Hollywood Reporter. So I guess they have, a London version. Some of the movies he has done was The Quatermass Experiment, of which I have several copies. Of course, couldn't find one in time. Quatermass 2, and I've heard Val Guest talk about this, and he really didn't like Brian Don Levy. He was much too a personality, but I thought he did a really, really good job. This is maybe my favorite. Well, Quatermass 2 and this one. I had to do with this one, but this was Quatermass 3. And there were two sets, 1, 2, 3 on television, BBC, and 1, 2, 3 in the movies. But we'll get on with that. Abominable Snowman of the Himalayas. I didn't even know I had this, but look what our director found. Okay. So I guess I may have to look at that her again. When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. And I don't have anything on that, but I think I've seen it. And, you know, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, they did an advertising banner, and that banner was reproduced for the climax scene in the original Jurassic Park. So I think that was really great of Spielberg, who is a fantastic director, you know, in spite of the fact that he is such a successful one also. I did read something on Google the other day. It was talking about the best living American director as Terrence Malick, but you know, I might throw Spielberg and a few more of those in there too. But this guy who we're talking about now, Val Guest, was one of the 5 directors for the original Casino Royale in 1967. John Huston was another one of those. Now this is actually a recording. It's a special recording, 180 gram kind of thing. And of course, we've got music here by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. I think it's the best recorded Herb Alpert I've ever put my hands on to. And the very famous Look of Love by Dusty Springfield, for which I also have some 12-inch 45s of also. The Day the Earth Fire, for which he won, Val won the best screenplay at BAFTA, B-A-F-T-A, which is basically the same as our Academy Awards. Now, this is a dark picture, but if you can see any of it at all, which of course I can't because there's a delay, but if you can see any of it at all, you can see the imaging is really cool. And that also had Janet Monroe from, yeah, you can see it. That also had Janet Monroe from The Crawling Eye, which we spoke about a week or two ago, who died like in her 30s, but
Forrest
that's
Tucker
a bit.
in this one was.
Well, Forrest Tucker was also in this one, The Abominable Snowman, and Forrest Tucker was, of course, in the great classic of The Crawling Eye. So there. So just a reminder, you're listening to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET, your home planet, and 1490 AM radio, the Mighty Met. And don't forget, www.drhecm.com, drhecm.com. Give me a call, 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. Now we get into Vampira. And Vampira was born in 1922, and I have her flying away in 1008. I think that was wrong. How about, I don't know what year she passed on. We'll have to ask our director again. But she is gone.
2008.
Oh, 2008. Okay. That makes kind of more sense. But I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again. But her name is, I'm going to spell it. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Mila, M-A-I-L-A. So if anybody knows how to pronounce it, let me know. Her middle name is Elizabeth. That I can do. And her last name, Syrjanimi. I think Vampira fits really well. So I know I've said this before, but she was the first that I know of, and it said she was the absolute first horror movie host on television who predated Sven Gulli, who I still love and watch every Saturday night, Elvira, who most of you know about, and of course Ghoulardi. Now, we talked about Ghoulardi a few weeks ago because he was Paul Thomas Anderson's father. And speaking of him, or PTA as he's known, how about him in the ranking of the best living American directors? I think he's way up there. My favorite's not the same as most people's. Inherent Vice, I thought, was incredible. And I also remember telling this story before about when I was shopping with my mommy and daddy. I must have been 6, 7 years old, maybe, right there. And we lived in the San Fernando Valley. I saw her walking or shopping on Ventura Boulevard. Now, she was dressed in black like what she, so it may have been a thing, but all I knew is that Vampira was on the same block that I was, and I was petrified. I think we went into a deli or something, and not the locks could take my attention away from looking at that door and hoping that Vampira was going to pass us by. Now, just to bring, we know this, of course. This is Elvira, who came later. But let me show you a picture of Vampira. This is what I saw coming down the street. You would be scared too, wouldn't you? Okay, but you know that reality is not what we think it is. Here's what she really looks like, or looked like. Okay, at 6 or 7 years old, I probably wouldn't have been too interested, but I may not have been as frightened in any case. So, and it also tells us why she was such a good friend of James Dean, and they were often spotted together at Googie's, not to be confused with Googie Withers from Lady Vanishes, and the other one I've talked about tonight. But Googie's Coffee Shop on the corner of Crescent Heights and Sunset. I know that, of course, I haven't been doing much traveling lately. I don't think it's still there, but this is probably while she was a hat check girl on the Sunset Strip. Maybe even Dino's. Remember Dino's right next to 77 Sunset Strip? But anyway, she also did modeling for Man Ray and Bernard of Hollywood, known as the photographer of Marilyn Monroe. And Man Ray was not only an artist, but a photographer who used solarization, just like they did in Cinematic in Angry Red Planet. Anyway, was done, and this is great. This was a publicity stunt, but my God, this is great. She ran for Nightmare. It's like Nightmare and Mayor of Hollywood on a platform of dead issues. Is that what it says? Yeah. The Nightmare running on dead issues. God, that was great. And there's a couple of pictures showing her. ABC, who we are now on right now, right, Sean? This is ABC. ABC was supporting her, and they drove her around, or cruised. She was cruising around Hollywood in a chauffeur-driven 1932 Packard convertible. It's a small picture, but maybe you can see that, dressed as Vampira. Oh, let me hold that up. And carrying a black parasol. This is another such picture. And perhaps her most famous role was as herself No, she didn't play. Well, no, she was. I'm getting it mixed up with the Tim Burton film. She did play in Plan 9 from Outer Space. You know, Plan 9 from Outer Space is usually considered possibly one of the worst films ever, but also one of the most enjoyable to sit through, as long as you're not, strapped down and have to sit through it all the time. But, and then the character of Vampira was also in Ed Wood's film and I've got the movie, but I thought this was an amazing film. I think you did too. When he did Ed Wood, especially in black and white, like it should have been done. Also, it featured Criswell, who had his own show, Criswell Predicts. And yes, I am old enough to actually remember it. Do you see that? Okay. Greetings, my friends. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And I think he not only said that in the movie, he said that also on his show, every one of his shows. We have some honorable mentions. Terry Garr, 1944, Rita Moreno, 1931, Marie Windsor, 1919 to 2000. And before we get on to NASA Nelly and a break, I just a shout out to Marie Windsor, who was a great film noir actress and some science fiction stuff. This Narrow Margin, they did a remake. Both are good. This is the best. It's great. There's the remake, but it's good also. And she was also in Catwomen of the Moon, and we saw her in person at a 3D festival from Cinematheque, where we also met John Landis and Joe Dante. And here's that. I don't know how much of that you can see. It shows a picture, Catwoman, right there, of it. And, oh yeah, who is this? Oh, John Landis. Here's John Landis' signature. Or autograph, excuse me. Here's Joe Dante's autograph. I love that movie, Matinee. But we'll talk about that because we're running out of time. And who else do we have here that we met at Cinematheque? Oh, Diane Baker. We met her along with Kim Novak and Tippi Hedren. That was at a different get-together that must have had to do with, obviously, Hitchcock. But just to let you know that music for Catwomen was written by Elmer Bernstein, and he did it also for that other great 3D, Robot Monster. And Elmer Bernstein, although he did some great work, he's not to be confused with Rita Moreno's Bernstein. Gilbert Rowland also joined us in 1905 and went bye-bye in 1994. So just to remind you, this is KMET AM, the Mighty Met, www.drhecm.com, www.drhecm. That's Dr. Heckham, but just give me a call, 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. Now, we are going to, is NASA Nelly, has she landed yet? Let's listen. Okay, she's here. She's just in from outer space. And she's going to give us a little bit of talk about Mothman.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a city bordering two rivers surrounded by sugar maple trees and was the home of Mark Twain's grandparents. It is also known for the shocking collapse of the Silver Bridge on December 15, 1967, and its connection to the controversial Mothman. This is the same Mothman that inspired ufologist John Keel, who wrote Mothman Prophecies, which led to the film by the same name starring Richard Gere in 2002. It all began several months before the bridge catastrophe. Community sightings were widespread of a creature looking like a flying man with 10-foot wings and glowing eyes similar to bicycle reflectors. Some of those observations were connected to UFOs. It was said to have been seen dragging off dogs, chasing people, and damaging roofs of parked cars. It was also reported that a local abandoned military munitions base known as the TNT was its home. Its presence reportedly led to premonitions by individuals of the destruction of that bridge. The Mothman almost completely disappeared from West Virginia after December 15th, but not out of mind. Many have studied the existence of such a monster, claiming that it was an alien, supernatural being, or a previously unknown type of animal. Point Pleasant has an annual Mothman Festival that attracts 10,000 to 12,000 visitors a year. The 12-foot tall metallic statue serves as a reminder. He joins the other West Virginian creature, the Flatwoods Monster, as well as the Wendigo, Chupacabra, and the Pudwudgie.
We need to talk about Pudwudgies more in relation to Hellier, Kentucky, and things like that, and goblins. And that last picture was John Keel, who I really admire. But you know what? It's time for a break. Hang on, and we'll be right back. Maybe even, I think, we will have a live concert right here on KMET. Thanks so much.